You're not selfish enough, and it's costing you everything. You're very quick to abandon yourself for your job, abandon yourself for relationships that don't serve you, abandon yourself for things and people and whatever it is that deters you from becoming the man that you say you want to become. You're very quick to abandon yourself. But when it comes to actually leading yourself, you're very hesitant to do so. And it comes down to this: you're uncomfortable in who you are. You're not selfish enough. You know, many men are afraid to be alone. Many men are afraid to be themselves. Many men are afraid to be present. Why? Because being present requires you to be fully comfortable in who you are. And when you're not fully comfortable in who you are, you cannot be selfish. And you'll tell yourself that you're selfless. You tell yourself that, you're just a very considerate guy, or you're a nice guy, but not really. You're just a man who's willing to abandon himself to please other people. And the okey doke with that is that the people that you're looking to please most oftentimes than not are looking to use you. Your job, for example. You're a high performing, competent man, especially if you're on this channel. You're a man of God, and people will exploit that. People will exploit you. They'll over ask. They'll force you to overextend. And the moment you pull back, they get mad at you. Why? Because you've been like, so such a yes man for so long that now that when you pull back, it's like a shock to them. Like, what do you mean? Like, that's not who you are? Like, yeah, I thought you were just a nice guy, you know? And that happens when you're not selfish enough. When you're constantly overextending so that you could be seen, so that you could finally get that promotion that you want, so you could finally get that woman that you want. You overextend, you give yourself away too easily, very quick to abandon yourself, but not very quick to ask yourself why, not very quick to actually sit with, why am I so willing to abandon myself? Why am I so willing to forsake everything I stand on? A lot of times, if you've known the theme for this week, if you kept up with the channel, it's been comfort. And comfort is very, very exposing of this. How quick you're willing to abandon yourself. People think it's fear or scarcity. It's not really that. It's abundance and comfort. Comfort and abundance, peace, requires you to look in within yourself and say, now I actually have the choice to choose who I am. Now I actually have the choice to not just survive, but to thrive. And is the man that I want to be gonna thrive, or is he always gonna be operating out of scarcity, out of lack? And when you've been living in lack for so long, like many high performing men do, you don't know what it's actually like to live fulfilled. You don't know what it's actually like to choose to be selfish. When you're desperate, when you're grinding, when you're building, when you're building something and you're doing it because you don't have it, or because you think it'll make you feel better as a man, or you think it'll make you worthy of being a man, you know, it's very easy to stay on the prize. But when you have it, when you're fulfilled, when everything is finally aligning the way you want it to, that's when you get exposed. That's when you feel your most vulnerable. That's when actually, like, the Most High's testing whether you are the man that you say you are, because now you have a choice. Many high performing men, they get complacent once they get a woman. Why? Because a lot of high performing men, they say, well, I'm worthy enough. I'm worthy of being loved now. So let me abandon myself. Let me stop being the man that actually attracted this woman. Let me stop being that guy, because now I'm good enough. You know what that proved? That proved the whole time you're performing. You're performing. And anytime you're performing, you do something to just get something. You ever meet those people that you could tell they just want something out of you? And that's how high performing guys are. And that's how I've been for a long time. And with the grace of the Most High, I recently moved into, fulfillment through Him, and that's a blessing. But it took a lot of patience. As the scriptures say, let patience have her perfect work, so that you may be perfect and entire. It really takes a long time to be whole, and really to decide and really figure out who you are and figure out, like, is this the type of man I am? Is this really who I am, or was I doing this out of scarcity the entire time? You know, because when you fill those holes that you've been chasing, those holes that you've been, looking to plug, no pun intended, no pun intended, um, it's very exposing, because now it's like, I'm not as hungry. Now I'm comfortable. Now I don't need to work as hard. And to me, I'm at a point where it's like, nah, fuck that, bro. Like you know, it's, I don't want to get vulgar, you know what I mean? But I don't know any of y'all stop until you stop, if you know what I'm saying. You don't stop until you've completely finished, if that tank is drained, that's when you stopping. And that's the same way you gotta fucking move, man. Like, we become so selfless and self-righteous when we're finally winning. Why the fuck? Why? I've been working hard for so long. Why not actually, keep on going and keep on, progressing and keep on, doubling down and reaffirming to my nervous system, reaffirming to my mind, nah, this is who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? And like many of us, and I've been in this situation. I've been in it very, like, so many times, y'all. So many times, like, quick to self-abandon, but not quick to self-fulfill. You know what I mean? And, I wanted to, really make this video because even in my life, like, there's times where I prioritize other shit instead of myself. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, we allow, like, the job to take time from us. And then they gaslight you. You ever been in that situation? They fucking gaslight you because you don't want to work overtime or you don't want to work extra time. Fuck that. It's like 8 hours. I'm the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Relationships where women are, oh, you ain't doing enough and blah, blah, blah. I'm doing more than enough. Like, what the fuck you mean? Like, you're not happy with yourself, but I'm happy with who I am. And a lot of times we're afraid. We're afraid to lose what we've built. We're afraid to lose who we are. And anytime you're afraid, those fears and delusions, they come true. Why? Because you're so attached to the outcome that you being attached is suffocating who you are. And now you're overthinking, and now you're anxious, and now, stop being so fucking selfless. Be selfish. Continue to choose yourself. Continue to prioritize you, especially when you're fucking winning, especially when things are finally aligning for you. Double down. Double down in who you are. It's not the time to stop. It's actually time to press on the fucking accelerator and keep fucking going. A lot of men, they have this, they finally, cure that appetite. Nah, it's like, dog, like, get the steak, get the eggs, but fucking get the dessert too. I want all the fucking cake. I want all the fucking, the dessert as well. I'm greedy. Fuck it, be greedy. Be called fucking greedy. You know what I mean? Like, we're very quick to help other people, especially high-performing men. You know how much of a leader you are. How the room gravitates towards you. You know how much fucking respect you garner. But let's be frank. What about us? When do we get to actually experience the life that we want? When do we get to not actually be overly responsible for other people? If you're a leader, if you're a man, which is being a leader, you are overly responsible. You probably feel that weight and responsibility, especially if you're a good man. You know what I mean? Especially if you're a man of the Lord, you're overly responsible. I could tell you that from fucking experience, because you don't want to fuck up. But the truth is, the more you don't want to fuck up, the more you're gonna fuck up, And many of us, we're too nice. We're too nice. You know what the word nice means? The etymology of the word nice it means a fool. A fool. We let our heart get in the way of decisions that we know we're supposed to be making. We let our emotions swindle us. We become overly responsible because we're so strategic, we're so competent, we know we could always make up for it. And that, my friend, is our pride. It is our downfall. It is our blind spot. A lot of us, we believe in ourselves, and we believe in ourselves only. We're fucking so delusional that we're like, fuck, we could overcome anything. But eventually, it does catch up to you, and the Most High does humble you, which is why it's important to have faith in God, which is why it's important to trust the Most High. It's something that's always stuck with me, and I said this on this channel before. Christ never abandoned himself. Christ gave up his body, but he never abandoned who he was to please other people, to please, his people. You know what I mean? He stood 10 toes down for the Most High. And honestly, that's really the only way to do it. If you don't have any authority above you, which is sovereign, like the Lord, I'm sorry, you're just a ticking time bomb away from being lost. You're a ticking time bomb away from something just, taking away, who you are, whether it be a relationship, whether it be a business failure, whether whatever it is, whatever type of failure, a breakup, a business failure, whatever, you know, you are on the edge of tomorrow. And this is the call for you to be fucking selfish. It's for you to be selfish, to be the man that you know you are, that initiator, that go-getter, that aggressive man, that one that's called too much. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? You know, a lot of us leaders, we dilute ourselves. Let's be for real. We dilute ourselves. We shrink ourselves. Why? Because all our lives, ambitious men, we've been told we're too much. Too much for who? Too much for you? Too much for the people around you? Like, let's be for real. Even some of us to each other, oh, we're being too harsh. Fuck all that, bro. One of my favorite lines lately that's been sticking to me in the Spider-Man movies, the most recent one, No Way Home. Now it's brand new day, but whatever. No Way Home. Osborn, he rallies up the troops when he tells us we're gods. We don't choose, we take. And this is a call for that. Like, don't fucking, wait around. I'm not a motivational guy, but like, I'm letting y'all know, like, I'm a man too. I live in the same fucking boat. A lot of times I've let shit been taken from me. That shit sucks. The opportunity that should have been mine, that shit sucks. Why? Because I allowed my emotions to get in the way. I didn't feel like I was good enough. I felt like I was lacking as a man. I didn't feel like, I deserved it. Why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? Why can I be selfish? Why can't we win? Why is it always outward? Why is it never inward? We may even say, like, to other people, like, oh, you deserve it. But then if you ask yourself, would I give that advice to myself? Would I take my own advice? You wouldn't, because you don't believe you deserve it. You don't believe that you actually deserve the life that you're building. You don't actually believe in the man that you say you are. And that shit is wild, because you're the most competent man. You're the most ambitious man. You're the greatest leader in most rooms you walk in, probably in all rooms. Shit, I wouldn't bet against you. I wouldn't bet against me. And I would not want you to choose another man over yourself. Be fucking selfish. Choose you. Choose to get what the fuck you want. Not to be cliche, but we really do only got one life. Not to be cliche, but really, and the most valuable thing we have as a man is our spirit. No one is made like us. No one is like us. We could be like-minded. We could be like-spirited. We could be like-hearted, but we're still different. And we all bring our own unique edge. We all bring our own unique style. Fucking let that shit shine. Because if you don't, you're fucking too selfish. I'm gonna make a play on to this video. You're too selfish. You're too selfish. But this video is, you're not selfish enough. There's a balance. There's a balance. You're not selfish enough, brother. Straight up. You prioritize other shit. You prioritize your emotions over the vision that you have for yourself. You prioritize relationships that don't serve you. You prioritize, being in environments that don't serve you. Why? Why? Because you don't believe you're enough for the life that you say you want. You don't believe like you're the man that you say you are.